Welcome to Valley News Now. I'm Adam Shalafu and joined by Gabriel Osler in the nation's capital. And Gabe, it looks like you are at the Navy Memorial. What a beautiful place to be.
That's absolutely right. What a Foo believes by the Foobie brothers. I am technically above the Navy Memorial right now. The camera around and let you see. There are these little kiosks out here. We've actually got a full on flight simulator straight up ahead over there. And these are all sort of recruitment options that you could maybe be fooled into thinking were the Navy Museum itself. But true to form, the Navy Museum is actually right in there and it's underground. So it really does feel like when you're in there, like you are on a ship. It's not quite as claustrophobic as a submarine would be, especially for somebody of my stature, but the floor is a little bit sloped. There's no windows. You really get that sort of nautical vibe of what it would be like to be one of these wonderful service members in the line of duty on a ship. And there's lots of fantastic, um, you know, memorabilia down there from various ships, various submarines. There's a plaque wall honoring distinguished Navy service people, and then, of course, a theater where you can watch some Navy related information. So, lots of really cool stuff. Now, I'm just back outside because it is kind of tight in there, and I didn't want to get in the way of any of these honor flight members who are trying to reminisce on their Navy days. But we did actually just jump over from the National Archives, which you can see are right there behind me. So, it has already been an action packed day in our nation's capital, Adam.
I loved the trip to the National Archives. Just so much cool stuff. Did you have any favorite items that you got to take a look at while you were at the archives?
Well, naturally, the main thing about the National Archives is the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. They have that set up in the rotunda upstairs. That is sort of like the be all, like end all for a lot of people. They want to go, they want pictures of the original documents. There's also some wonderful docents in there who are giving bits of information, assuring people that there is no treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence, so there's no need to try and break it out of its enclosure. But I am glad you asked because there is a great deal of other awesome stuff in the National Archives. They've got some exhibits out right now, specifically one about coal miners in America and this really incredible work of photojournalism that documented their lives and the way that things either improved or deteriorated depending on how the company was doing. And that really hit home for me because my grandpa's family was an entirely coal mining family from very rural Pennsylvania. So I felt like I was really getting a look back into my own history on that one. And then there's also a huge exhibit on just the nature of freedom in general. Of course, the civil rights movement, the push for marriage equality, but even going all the way back to having an actual copy of the Magna Carta in the National Archives, going all the way back to 1215 to illustrate how people have always been struggling for some form of liberty or self expression. So, a really enlightening trip there, even outside of the great American historical documents.
And this is your guys' last day of the trip. You guys will be home in just about 9 hours or so. Just looking at the whole experience so far, give me your top three moments or top threes.
Oh, man. That is tough, although it does make it kind of convenient that we've been here for 3 days to break it down into three. I just really like. I'm gonna kind of change your question just slightly and say that the 3 days I think has been so important for this honor flight group specifically, because the first day was definitely sort of a feeling out period with everybody getting to know each other, getting comfortable in their bus groups, starting to sort of see the monuments about the Marine Corps and the other branches they might have been in. And then the second day was this really emotional watershed moment where we saw so many people breaking down at memorials, looking at names of fallen soldiers, fallen comrades. And then there was this big emotional catharsis last night where once they had had that, then they were able to gather together, have this great big communal dinner. They received letters from friends and family telling them how proud they were of them. And then today kind of feels a little bit like a victory lap, where we hit a few more things. We see the documents that the nation is founded upon. We're going to go to Fort McHenry now, right after this, which I know was a big favorite of yours, and see more about the founding of the nation and really have that swell of patriotism. And then, as you said, return home to North Dakota or Minnesota and almost certainly be greeted by this raucous crowd at the airport. So I have my own personal favorites. A lot of the things that I got to see in person were really awe-inspiring as somebody who never really thought he would go to Washington, D.C. But I didn't really want to go for personal favorites on that one. I wanted to try and paint a picture of the journey that I've seen these wonderful men and women go through.
One of the unique things about this honor flight is it's two planes. Just the I think biggest group that this honor flight has ever sent, the Western Minnesota and North Dakota honor flight. And so, what's it been like? Two planes full of vets out there with you.
Well, I have to give just major props to the Honor Flight organization in general for that one, because they recognize the demand that is still out there. I mean, I mentioned a bunch of times about how Vietnam was 50 years ago, but there's still plenty of veterans out here waiting for their chance. The wait list is huge on these things. And so for Honor Flight to then be able to stretch themselves to accommodate that demand and be so on the ball about everything. I mean, I'm marveling at this undertaking, just the sheer mass of humanity that gathers in the hotel lobby every morning before we're about to go out. But of course, we're not losing anybody. Everybody's accounted for at all times. The buses are always in this great harmonious row. I mean, this is just my flight. These are 4 huge, huge travel coaches, and we are basically staying together in traffic no matter what. These drivers have great coordination. They're staying in communication over the CB radio and everything. And yeah, just the fact that we are able to pull this off where everything adheres to a reasonably tight schedule, and we get to see historical monument after just incredible landmark in such a short span of time. You wouldn't even know that it's 2 planes out here, Adam. You'd think that this is just some regular tour group, but they've really been able to do something spectacular with this one.
And I know you guys are getting ready to head to Fort McHenry soon. But before I let you go, I got to ask, what do we got coming up in the shows on Valley News Live later today?
That is a great question and very pertinent to the content that we want people to consume, Adam. Our Alex Larson, who's with me, just doesn't like doing these lives quite as much as I do with you. She just had this wonderfully illuminating interview with a sniper from Vietnam who served for a couple of years in the Army and did so well that he was asked to be an instructor going forward, but then he figured that he might do too good at that, and so they would send him back, and he did not want to see combat one more time. So that's going to be a big focus of what Alex is looking at later on today, very similar to how we really honed in on Rex and did that package for last night. But Fort McHenry definitely promises to be a place where we're going to have a lot more conversations. There's still plenty of vets out there that want to talk, want to share their story. So it's going to be slightly different in the afternoon broadcast because we will be in the airport or on a plane largely for the 4, 5, and 6 hours. But definitely stay tuned for everything that we're able to accumulate before then to get those stories back to you, and then show up at the airport, greet these heroes as they return home. Then make sure you tune into Valley News Live at 9 and 10 so you can see the kind of bow that we put on this great big package that we've been able to experience.
Gabe, thank you so much. You and Alex doing great work in our nation's capital. That's all for now on Valley News Now. Signing off, Adam Shalfa with Gabe Osler. We'll see you next time.